Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now both Bitcoin and Ethereum are still running into this important area of support, but in the short term a new signal is flashing right now for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, which I'll talk about later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a really quick update here on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now, as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is still trading above the invalidation level for this much larger bullish trend, because once again, as I've been saying since the very beginning of this year, down below 20k, the price of Bitcoin is technically within a much larger bullish trend, forming significant higher highs and higher lows here on the larger timeframes. And on top of that, if you're looking at the super trend indicator here on the 4-day Bitcoin chart as of right now, and once again, as I've been saying since the beginning of this year, this is still currently sitting in the green, indicating a much larger bullish trend. But as with any trend, of course, there's a point of invalidation where we could see a trend reversal, and this indicator would reverse from green back to red if we see a confirmed break back below around $25,000 per Bitcoin. And in case you're new to this channel, what I mean when I say a confirmed break below that level is at least a 4-day candle close below 25k, but ideally weekly candle closes below $25,000 per Bitcoin. And so once again, if that actually happens, then that would confirm a trend reversal signal in the super trend indicator, flipping it from green back to red. But on top of that, if we actually see a break well below 25k, that would of course form a new lower low here on the larger time frames, which we have not seen since around the end of last year. But considering the fact that at least as of right now, that has not yet happened, obviously we have not yet seen a confirmed break below 25k. And so once again, at least as of right now, we technically have not actually invalidated the larger bullish trends that I've been talking about all year. But with that being said, obviously more recently, we do have a larger bearish divergence currently active here on the 4-day chart, which is why we have seen a lack in bullish momentum as of recent. And so ultimately, in the somewhat shorter term, in these short-term trends here, as of right now, we're looking more bearish than bullish if you're talking about the short-term trend. But once again, as I've been saying throughout this year, at these previous short-term bearish trends, like what we saw back during around February or March, and also like what we saw back during around May, technically it is possible we can see short-term bearish trends within a much larger bullish trend, kind of like how we can see short-term bullish trends within a much larger bearish trend, like what we saw during 2022. And now, if you're zooming into the daily Bitcoin chart, once again, as of right now, we're still technically within a shorter term bearish trend, which is also a result of this bearish divergence on the daily time frame, which I've been talking about since around $30,000, all the way back up there. And as for the daily Bitcoin price oscillators, as of right now, the daily Bitcoin MACD is showing very low momentum, because as of right now, it is moving from bearish potentially back to bullish, because it is moving towards a bullish cross. But as of right now, we have not yet confirmed any new bullish signal in this indicator. And as for the daily Bitcoin RSI, once again, this is still technically trending to the downside, forming lower highs and lower lows. And also, we are still yet to break above this descending line of resistance, which technically means this bearish divergence on the daily time frame is once again still currently active. But with that being said, obviously more recently, just in the last 1 week or so, the daily Bitcoin RSI has entered well into oversold territories. And typically when the daily Bitcoin RSI enters into oversold territories, this usually happens after a dump or crash in the price of Bitcoin, because basically the price of Bitcoin goes too far to the downside too quickly, at least in the shorter term, and we're due to see a reset in the RSI back out of those oversold territories, back up towards more neutral levels. And to reset the RSI out of oversold territories, that usually plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief over the coming days or weeks. And so obviously this is exactly what we've seen so far over the last 1 week. Once again, mostly choppy sideways price action, which is one of the most likely scenarios that I've been talking about. And it's possible this type of price action that we've seen in the short term over the last 1 week could continue for a little further, at least the next few days, possibly another week, because as of right now, once again, the daily Bitcoin RSI is still currently sitting in oversold territories. And on top of that, obviously the price of Bitcoin is still trading just above a major support, which is a price range in between around 24.3k to 25.3k. And now if you're zooming into the much shorter term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, as of right now, just over the last one day, we've started to see a breakdown in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI below this ascending line of support. And so technically speaking, this is one initial confirmation signal, basically helping to invalidate this previous bullish divergence. But ideally, in order to become more confident that this 4-hour Bitcoin bullish divergence is really over, we need to see a rejection here in the RSI, confirming this previous support is flipping into new resistance. And on top of that, obviously, if the RSI starts forming lower lows and lower highs, that is another signal pointing towards the invalidation of this bullish divergence. And so once again, as of right now, this is just one initial signal pointing towards the invalidation of this bullish divergence, which means it's possible we could begin to see a little bit more bearish price action in the short term if we see more of those confirmation signals that I just talked about. But like I said, on the daily time frame, as of right now, we still have somewhat limited room to the downside based on the fact that the RSI is still sitting in oversold territories. And once again, the price of Bitcoin is still sitting above major support, showing relatively low momentum. So even if this bullish divergence fully invalidates in the short term, it's actually still very likely that we're going to play out this type of price action that we've seen over the last 1 week, at least for the next few days, just talking about the short term here. But once again, as of right now, this is just a pause within a short-term bearish trend, like what we saw back here. And if you're looking at the Bitcoin order books across multiple different exchanges, right now we still have a lot of buy orders at around 25.6k to 25.7k approximately. And we also have another small group of buy orders at around $25,000 per Bitcoin. And so at those price levels, we should expect a bit of short-term support. And as for resistance, looking at the sell orders, we have a decent group of sell orders at around 26.5k to around 26.7k. And we have another chunk of sell orders at around 27.9k to 28k. And so once again, at those price levels, we should expect a bit of short-term resistance for the price of Bitcoin. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart. And right now, the price of ETH is still running into this important area of support, sitting in between around 1640 to 1.7k. And as for the shorter term trend, as of right now, like I've been saying on the channel, this is technically still a short-term bearish trend, even though we have recently taken a bit of a pause from this short-term bearish trend, because at least as of right now, we have not yet confirmed any bullish reversal signals here on the daily time frame. And as for the daily Ethereum price oscillators, right now, the daily Ethereum MACD is showing relatively low momentum and is moving towards a bullish cross. But once again, like Bitcoin on the daily time frame, this indicator has not yet confirmed any new bullish signal. And as for the daily Ethereum RSI, this is still technically trending to the downside. So as of right now, it's still more bearish than bullish in terms of the trend. But obviously, just recently, over the last 1 week or so, we have seen the daily Ethereum RSI enter well into oversold territories. And usually when that happens, we have somewhat limited room to the downside, at least in the short term, because essentially we're due to see a reset in the RSI out of oversold territories, which usually plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief over the coming days or weeks. And obviously since then, since around 1 week ago, we have seen pretty much exactly that, mostly choppy sideways price action over the last 1 week. And as of right now, the daily Ethereum RSI is technically out of oversold territories, but it is still very close to oversold territories. So basically, if we saw a slight drop to the downside in the price, we would likely quickly re-enter into oversold territories here in the daily RSI. And so due to that reason, once again, we still have somewhat limited room to the downside, at least in the short term, but this is not necessarily enough to fully confirm a bullish trend reversal. So as I said earlier, we're technically still within a short-term bearish trend. It's just right now we're taking a bit of a pause from that short-term bearish trend just in the imminent short term. And as for other levels of support, if we actually see a confirmed break below this area of support and resume the bearish trend later on, then in that that case, below 1640, we have the 50% retracement level sitting at around 1510 to 1520. And below that level, we have the important golden pocket area of support sitting in between around 1360 to 1.4k. And if you're zooming into the much shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, right now we are potentially seeing the invalidation of this bullish divergence on the 4-hour ETH to US dollar chart. Because once again, like I said for Bitcoin earlier in the video, we are beginning to see a breakdown in the 4-hour RSI below this ascending line of support. But at least as of right now, this is just one initial signal pointing towards the invalidation of this bullish divergence. And ideally, in order to become more confident that this short-term bullish divergence is really over, we would need to see a rejection in the RSI confirming this previous support as new resistance. And also, if the 4-hour Ethereum RSI starts forming significant lower lows and lower highs again, then obviously that would be another signal pointing towards the invalidation of this short-term bullish divergence. And in case you're new to this channel, this short-term bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame is basically a signal by itself pointing towards a bit of a pause from that short-term bearish trend that I just talked about. And so ultimately, if that short-term bullish divergence fully invalidates with more confirmation signals pointing towards the invalidation of that bullish divergence, then that would be a signal by itself pointing towards the resumption of this short-term bearish trend. But remember, we still have other signals, like for example, the price running into major support and also the RSI still sitting very close to oversold territories on the daily time frame, which are still other signals pointing towards a bit of a pause from this short-term bearish trend. But either way, if you want to know how to make a lot of money in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways in the short term like right now, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.